Hey guys, and welcome to Tracy's rendition of Tracy's Tuesday Talks. This is your host, Tracy Latona with Golden Earth Financial Coaching. One of the topics that another coach asked me to cover was New Year's resolutions. Now, before you go grab a bucket and throw up, this is going to be a different view, a different aspect on New Year's resolutions. So I was doing some research into this topic, and about 43% of Americans decide that they want to make a New Year's resolution or a goal for self-improvement. And only 8% of Americans follow through with that and actually make any lasting change. So I want to go over the history of New Year's resolutions, where they come from, a different way to go about them that is out of the ordinary and not your typical traditional New Year's resolution, and then the things that you can do that are practical, that if you want to make any changes this year, that you can do to make it happen. So I was looking on the History Channel's website, and New Year's resolutions actually were first traced back to Babylon 4,000 years ago. What they wanted to do was, as a New Year's resolution, which for them it started in March, which was their planting season, was appease the gods, their gods, and ask for favor. And they did this by paying back any debt. Interesting. And then also returning anything that they borrowed. So tracing back the 4,000 years to today, the difference being back then, it was more along the lines of trying to gain favor and improvement on their life from their pagan gods, to nowadays, New Year's resolutions are basically a self-improvement process where we depend on ourselves to improve something about our life. So what is it about New Year's resolutions that make people go, oh, no thank you, or start off and then just dissipate? What happens? So people tend to look at New Year's resolutions as a goal. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to eat healthier. I want this. I want financial freedom. And what they do is they set a goal without really a feasible plan to change their behavior to make it happen. I started reading James Clear's Atomic Habits. I'm in chapter 2. Awesome Christmas gift from the hubby, by the way. And what he talks about in the first couple of chapters is if you really want to achieve a goal, you create small, mini, micro habits that build on top of each other, much like an atom creates molecules, which creates whatever it is that it makes up. So if you change your habits to 1% a day, nothing drastic, nothing huge. To most people, it's not even noticeable. But 1%, 1 degree at a time, over a long period of time, will create lasting results that will cause breakthrough. So if you start with the end result that you want and you work backwards, for example, I want to run a Spartan race. Okay, what needs to happen for me to run a Spartan race in 2022? Well, I know I got to get in shape for one. I also know I need to eat healthier because frozen pizza is not a food group despite what my husband and I wish it to be. And then look at what are the things that I can do each day, the 1 degree, the 1% of change to actually make this thing happen. Hi, Steve. It's great to see you. Thanks for joining me today. So another way of looking at creating lasting habits is also looking at your identity. Who is it that you want to be? Stop thinking of yourself as, I want to be somebody who handles my money well. I want to be a good steward of the resources that God gave me. I want to be a good wife. I want to be a good mom. And start thinking of yourself as if you already are. Ask the question, what do good moms do? What do people who handle their money well do? What do people who are fit do? What choices do they make on a day-to-day basis to achieve the things that they are? And when you think of yourself as, instead of that mindset of wants and needs and looking at it as, I don't have this yet, if you operate from a mindset of, I'm already this person, I'm already somebody who handles money well, I'm already a good mom, I'm already XYZ, then what that does is it shifts your mindset into thinking, okay, what choices do I make that 1 degree, that 1% difference that actually causes me to be this person? New Year's resolutions, they typically don't work. Like I said, only 8% of Americans actually stick to them. 43% create them, which means 67% are just like, no thank you, because I know I'm not going to stick to it. Looking at it not from a goals perspective, but an identity perspective, as well as that 1 degree, that one small change each day, compounding day after day, like compound interest in a bank account to cause that growth that you want. Another interesting thing is, I heard on a radio show last year that New Year's resolutions have changed so much drastically over the last 80 years or so. Back in the 1940s, people on their list of New Year's resolutions, they wanted to go to church more. They wanted to spend more time with their family. It was very community-oriented or religious-oriented, whereas nowadays, it's very self-centered. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, if you do want to make changes, don't rely just on yourself. Have some accountability. And I would be wrong as a financial coach to not say, if you want some help being a better steward of your finances in 2022, if you want to get on a path to become debt-free, handle the money that God has given you and be a good steward, or if you want to, pardon my husband's calling, or if you want to just have a plan to have some financial freedom and financial peace, I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you. Click on the link that I'm going to provide to get on my calendar, and I'd love to meet with you. Thanks, guys. God bless, and have a wonderful, happy New Year.